Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've included an excerpt from a presentation I did at the Asian Racing Conference in Japan way back in 2008, where I challenged the racing industry with a vision for global pools and international commingling. And what surprises me immensely is that with so many smart people in horse racing, here in 2020, we're still talking about the same thing. We have a long history in international commingling. So as Malcolm Gladwell in his book, The Outliers, said, we have done our 10,000 hours. We started way back in 2002, commingling into the Breeders' Cup. And quite frankly, we knew nothing about what we were doing at the time. And I remember spending virtually every day on the phone to Ken Kirkner, who was with the Breeders' Cup organization at the time, and he helped us through. Then in 2004, another milestone for us was the global pools for the Dubai Racing Carnival, where more than 50 incoming hubs connected into the pools for that night, which at the time was second only to the Breeders' Cup. Then in 2008 and 2009, we connected through to both ways with Australia, with our friends Tabcorp, and that ultimately led then to Tabcorp acquiring a 50% stake in PGR in 2010. Then in 2014, the French PMU started commingling into our wind pools in South Africa, which saw the wind pools go from 200,000 Rand to 2 million Rand, which made them very competitive versus the fixed odds offerings. And then in 2016, South Africa commingled into Hong Kong, where our wind pools went from 15,000 Rand to 35 million Rand. Again, an astounding increase. Why commingling is essential, there's a worldwide move towards fixed odds betting. There's a massive increase in sports betting, and notably football. We see global lottos, and the only way we can compete is if we go commingled pools around the world. They provide greater liquidity with competitive total odds that can sustain big bets without impacting on the payouts. When you're simulcasting international product that is outside your normal business hours, commingling is hugely important because it allows the customers in the home market with greater certainty of what payouts will be. Live market information is important because very often a new product would be not familiar to your local customer base, and certainly that the total dividend trend will give them some kind of an indication of what the various horses' chances are. And every jurisdiction needs more turnover, but more turnover means more racing and more racing surfaces, which we don't have. So betting on third-party product and commingling into those pools is therefore essential. Third-party product is cheaper. It affords more revenue to flow back to the industry. So in effect, it's a very good business model. If we look at the need for commingling hubs, when we started commingling way back in 2002, we discovered that many jurisdictions had bespoke betting systems that couldn't easily commingle. And for the world to commingle together would have taken us about 20 years, which we would have been out of business by that point in time. So it's a far cheaper alternative, both in resources and in time. You have one point of connection, no need for multiple connections. You connect once, both ways, and then you can connect to anybody else who connects into the hub. You have standard technology. You've got the experience in overcoming challenges. Day-to-day operations means great experience in the international scene. No need to reinvent the wheel. So effectively, experience is an enabler. It's a 24/7 operation. You can properly engage with premium customers as to which markets you allow them into. So even though hubs are used, the home market does the deal, so control is retained by the home market. I'll just show you a graphical representation of our PGI hub, where we've got 13 inbound connections, 7 outbound, and 7 bidirectional. So you can easily see, if you connect into once, you can get access to a majority of those that are connected into the hub. Now, just looking at some of the challenges facing commingling, and I use examples here, but I don't mean them to be as a criticism. It's just the way that every jurisdiction has developed. Net pool pricing, well, the technology is available to do this, but it's not ideal as a customer gets paid less than what is seen on the screen. How to handle premium customers, well, we spoke about that before, and the home market concludes deals and determines the pricing. Then you've got issues of full cent betting and fractional betting. Some jurisdictions don't have this capability or regulatory approval to do it. Then you've got an issue of manual mergers, or what happens when your communications are lost. Now, this doesn't happen often these days, but in the early parts of commingling, it was an issue, and a manual merge is not something that the accountants like. Some jurisdictions have 0-second cancel delays, others have 20 seconds. So you have to factor that into your thinking when you're deciding to commingle with a particular jurisdiction. Then you've got, obviously, got government policy and legislation, whether it's allowed or not, and to what extent. And obviously the concept of host rules apply is very, very important. Minimum investment values become an issue when you commingle from a country that has a weak currency compared to the host jurisdiction. An example I use here is South Africa commingling into the US of A in certain of the states, where, for example, on the trifecta, they have a $2 minimum investment. So a 3 horses boxed bet would cost $12, which would be 180 Rand in South Africa. Now, that is way over the sort of average bet value that we experience in South Africa, which is around about 30 Rand. So it becomes very, very difficult for the guest market. Numbering conventions and field sizes. Well, numbering conventions, again, we talk about the US of A. They have 1A and 1B horses coupled, but they run as one animal. So if the result is 1A, 6, 1B, 7, the result is actually 167. Then you have the issue of the number of runners. Up until a while ago, you could only bet on 20 runners in a race. That has been increased, and I know with AMTOT now we have 28 runners. But even with some races in the UK where you've got upwards of 40 runners, then you have to mutualise the balance of the field above the 28. Then we've got aging technology that we're faced with. The 3 tote companies in the US of A are basically the only companies out there that are in the marketplace. And it is aging technology by their own admission. We spoke about bespoke systems earlier, where these can take upwards of 2 years to commingle with another jurisdiction. Then you have the tote rule issues, takeout issues, and carryovers. And I think the best way to deal with the takeout issue is to have a look at an example. With partner A has got a win takeout of 14.5%, whereas partner B has got a takeout of 20%. And you take out the costs associated with that commingle operation, and you can see that the mass with partner A results in a loss of 3%, whereas that of partner B results in a profit of 2.5%. So it's hardly an incentive to commingle with partner A, but definitely is one to commingle with partner B. Thank you.